What?
Up. I think we're good.
Are we good now?
Yeah.
We're back. All right. Take two. Ready? 3, 2. Hey, welcome in everyone. Happy Tuesday. Hope you guys enjoyed your Memorial Day weekend, and happy Memorial Day weekend. And thank you to all that served and the ones that lost their lives and continue to serve, and everyone in between that allows us the freedoms to do things like this. So first and foremost, thank you. And welcome back for a brand new week. We got 3 shows for you guys, at least. And then who knows? We sometimes pop up with more entertainment. But let's talk about what we have going for this Tuesday here at the Ryan Ripken Show. Well, the Birds are hot. They are back to being World Series favorites. Just kidding. Don't get mad at me here, but the Birds are playing better ball. We have 2 guests that are going to join us this afternoon. Hairston Jr., former Oriole, current Dodgers analyst, to kind of talk about the ups and downs of a season and what it kind of means to go through some hardships, and can you get out of a early deficit, even as one as big as Baltimore's. And then Andy Koska of Baltimore Banner is going to join us around 4 p.m. He just put out an article, guys, that kind of gave a more descriptive behind the scenes of the inner workings of what kind of transpired during Brandon Hyde's firing and where the team was at from a philosophical point. And then, we have some other topics. There was a comment thrown out there, I don't know, from a certain uncle of one of the members of the show, talked about hitting. And then there's a legend of the game that we sat down with, Eddie Murray, that talked about hitting approach and how that applies to the Baltimore Orioles. And yes, there was a debate over who should have gone number 1 overall in the 2019 draft to Mr. Adley Rutschman or Bobby Witt Jr. We'll put that to rest. And then we'll go around and talk about some sports this past weekend. A managerial ejection that was a long road. Brad saw every bit of racing that happened, a 14-hour day. Oh, and by the way, there was a major injury in the basketball world that I just like to talk about from a business sense. So all of that and a whole lot more. Let's talk about who's in studio with us today. Well, you heard his laugh. So behind the sticks, Mr. Brad, how are we doing?
Hey, I'm feeling a little bit lighter today. Can you tell? Ooh.
It looks good.
Oh, thank you.
It's more hair than I can only dream to have at the moment.
I did chop quite a bit of it off, but it's not all gone. So, I mean, I know that Brooksy really digs the hair. So he might be a little bit hurt by it, but there's still plenty of it left.
It looks good.
Thank you.
If that's a lot of hair.
Yeah.
For a guy like me. But my hair's still hanging.
I should have donated some to you.
Hey, okay, can we be transparent? I don't have bald spots up here. It's just the hairline's a little.
Yeah. You got like a 5-ish head.
Yeah, just a smidge.
Okay. Well, making his show debut on the mic, intern Sam and Mr. Bolly, Zach Bollinger.
I'm finally off of Brad's shoulder after a week's absence, and now I'm here.
And he comes in guns hot at me first message about the hair
come out
comment.
gunning for you as quickly as
Look,
I can.
he knows how. Look at that. He doesn't even have a forehead. He's got like a 1 head.
I remember that day having
it's
that much
covered
hair.
right now. If I push it back, it kind of exposes a little bit.
Notice
But I'm not going to worry about that.
Notice how Zach is awfully quiet over there about it.
That's why I just wasn't going to say
He keeps the hat on.
I have good hair. It's just where it starts is the issue.
Mhm.
You know, I got the flow. It just isn't. It's where it starts.
Yes.
Is the biggest downfall.
You think it's because you wear a hat all the time, or you think it's just
No, I've always had it. It is so funny. I've had this hairline. Mine just stayed there.
your whole life?
Yeah, whole life.
Really?
Even in high school, had it. Like,
damn.
They say that if you wear a hat more and more, it pushes your hairline back, or that's at least what my mother told me.
I really hope that's not true. I get the hat wearing life. When I don't feel like doing my hair, I just throw it on.
But when you're a young guy like you, Sam, you're okay. When you get to your 30s,
then it's a problem.
And you start to think about some other things, or genetics kick in, and you know what? We're looking for more sponsors. Nutrafol. Thank you. That'd be great. We can try to get this going. Bosley,
we get too.
But you know what? I digress. It's a part of life, and that is okay. And whatever you want to do, hat, no hat, hair, no hair. I see a King Neptune reference from SpongeBob. You know, I'm not to that level.
Yeah, I don't think we've reached paper bag territory yet, and hopefully we won't.
But like, I don't. It's weird. I think that your uncle and your dad, and even your grandfather, they could all pull it off. I just don't know if I could see you without hair.
Yeah, because I have eyebrows.
Yeah,
It's
well,
a
that's
different
probably
part.
true,
I got
too.
these bushy eyebrows. You know who Eugene Levy is? He was in American Pie as the dad.
Oh, yeah.
He's in Schitt's Creek.
Yes.
And he's been in a ton of other movies, by the way, just some of the ones that, his work that comes to my mind recently. But he's got some caterpillars.
Oh, yeah.
I don't have those types of eyebrows, but I still have some very highlighted features.
Yeah.
And being bald with these eyebrows would be a look.
It would be.
And we're going to wait to experience that. But you know what? In the meantime, guys, we got to experience some baseball conversations. And guess what? Fans are experiencing some winning here in Baltimore.
Hey.
3 in a row for the Baltimore Orioles. Is the World Series parade back on?
Yes, it is.
By some there is. But it is a positive thing to see because the Orioles, as we have seen it, especially how the road trip had gone, you lose 2, avoid a sweep in Milwaukee. And then on the other side of it, you go to Boston and you lose the first game, which they were winning in the 6th inning. And then the wheels literally fell off and position players were back at it. Emmanuel Rivera adding his name to the pitchers that have pitched for the Baltimore Orioles. And then you lose a heartbreaker. Get rained out, the rain out situation, sorry. And then you're wondering, okay, Trevor Rages is on the bump. And a lot of people then are feeling like the season's going to continue to fall. And you know what happens? Trevor Rogers arguably gives the best pitching performance from any starting pitcher this season.
The whole season.
And the Orioles then win that game. Find a way to win that game. And then Dean Kramer pitches a great game in the finale. The Orioles win that game as well. And then Charlie Morton's on the bump. And then I feel people are like this.
Guaranteed L.
Can't breathe.
Yeah.
Memorial Day, it's a holiday. We've been here before. And then he goes out there and pitches his best game of the season. And the Baltimore Orioles score runs early. And they beat the St. Louis Cardinals that had the 3rd best record in all of baseball over the last 23 games. So here we are. Now the Orioles have a long, long way to go, but some positives that we've seen. Pitching's gotten better. Starting pitching gives you a chance. And I gotta say one more thing, and I'll pass it around. But Trevor Rogers, good for you, man.
Yeah.
I am so happy for him because you know what's happened ever since he's come to Baltimore? It was we traded these players for you before he even stepped on the mound. And then he had his struggles. And then he gets sent down to AAA because he's not pitching well. Then he's not healthy for the season to start, which isn't arm related. But all lost in this was a guy 4 years ago who was an all-star and that has potential and is only in his mid to late 20s right now that has upside, but we don't know what that could be. He has nothing to lose. The season's down bad, and all of a sudden, whammy. You go out there and throw 18 first pitch strikes against 22 batters. You work both sides of the plate. And in a game that the team needed, you go out there and deliver, which was amazing. So I'm so happy for him. And it just goes to show you, we don't know if that's the Trevor Rogers for the rest of the season. I can't tell you that's who he's going to be.
Yeah.
If he can be consistent, he can have a very good shot of being a good part of this rotation, but the word is consistency, and the other word is health. But the Baltimore Orioles, guys, Zach, for 3 days, people's opinions have changed. Well, people's feelings have gotten a little bit more positive.
A little bit.
Yeah, I mean, it was a big 3 steps. You had to get the monkey off the back of they hadn't won 3 straight. They hadn't won a singular game when Charlie Morton even touched the mound. And it just felt good. I think, the biggest thing that I noticed, and we were talking about on Kevin and Zach React, it's just, it's a different feeling around the team. Their guys are smiling while playing. There's joking around, going on in the dugout. And it feels like a different team completely than even just 2-3 weeks ago, where you felt like every time you looked into the dugout, it was like a funeral. It was like someone, like everyone's like walking on eggshells. It feels like, stuff. It felt like everyone was just had to be there. It was like, well, they got to play a game. They got to get through this, something. Now it feels like they're playing ball. They're playing for each other. They're playing complete ball. Yesterday, I mean, it was the 2023, path to success. It was Charlie Morton goes out there, gives you 6 innings, 2 earned runs. Then you hand it off to the bullpen, who give you 2 shutout innings before you hand it to Felix Bautista, and then that's all she wrote. So it is one of those things where it's a good start. And, we had Buck Showalter on the show last week, and he even said, he's like, hey, you get young guys snowballing in this direction, crazy things can happen. So I think right now it's about taking the momentum. And last year, funny enough, when things sort of, started to change, it was right after that Cardinals series where the Orioles got swept for the first time in 108 series or whatever it was. And then immediately you go on and you have to face the White Sox. And after the White Sox, that was your final sweep, I believe, even since then, or they had the Twins at the very end of the year. But now you have the Cardinals and you got the White Sox coming up. If you can take 2 of 3 from the Cardinals, you take 2 of 3, sweep the White Sox, beating teams that you should beat. The Cardinals won 16 of 20 coming into this series. And no disrespect to the Cardinals, but if you gave any GM, anyone, a list of the Cardinals team and the Orioles as they get healthier, they're going to most likely take the Orioles team. So if the Cardinals can get hot and win 16 of 20, there's no reason the Orioles can't, but it all starts right here. They have to get consistent. The starting pitching has to get better consistently. We've seen the flashes in the pan from Morton, from Rogers. I think it starts again tonight. Tomo on the mound. If he can go out there and do what he's done, then I think, you find yourself winning this series. It's all about winning series. You win 2 of every 3 games. The rest of the way out, I think you're at 500 by the All-Star break. So,
and you got Tommy Sugar. Yeah. You got the guy you want on the mound to win the series. And Brad, it does not taking away the issues, right? The team, it's a small sample size, but it's finally the first time they've won 3 games all year.
Yeah.
And you finally have this feeling, or you have this hope. And hope, momentum, whatever you want to consider things, it's a powerful thing, but you need to start to stack those results. This is an opportunity for the team. Their starting pitching needs to continue to be what it has over the last week. And I know that's still what people's concerns is, not what you've done for 3 days or 4 days or maybe a week. Can you do that for a month?
Right.
Can you do that for 2? Because then we're going to find out more about, well, can the Baltimore Orioles truly get back into this? Not just, all right, the mindset has now opened up a little bit here.
Well, and I think it was the stringing together of 3 wins against some really good teams too. I mean, this isn't like they were trying to just pick the low-hanging fruit, right? So like they actually won 3 games in a row against some quality teams. And those are some positives. The other positives, Westy and I personally saw Colton Cowser on Friday night hit an absolute nuke in Aberdeen, crushed that ball. He's also been running very well. I don't know, made some crazy third base. He tagged up at third base and made a crazy run, and it still ended up scoring. It was a little bit questionable, but hey, he's been looking really good. Also hung out and signed baseballs for kids till like 11:30 at night, which is awesome of Colton. But that being said, there's some positive things coming. If those guys come back, obviously elevates the team even more. Here's my question to you, Rip. You have Trevor Rogers come out and pitch an absolute gem. And I understand that he came up to just kind of fill a spot because of doubleheader and there was just a lot going on.
Man, yeah.
And then you've had a couple of other guys that have come up and done really well, and they go right back down. We're talking about consistency. Why not just keep him in the rotation? Find him a spot. Send somebody else down that hasn't been performing, because God knows that there's been those players there as well. Obviously, bullpen's been struggling too. So why not keep Trevor Rogers when you know your weakest spot has been starting pitching up to this point? I'll bet there's a lot of weak spots. Give the guy some runway if he's already proven himself in a game where you just kind of threw him in.
Yeah,
and he did really well.
I think we're going to see Trevor Rogers soon. Again, right when you're the 27th man, you have to be sent back down. You're up there and you got to go back down. That's the rule.
But what's the timeline on bringing him back?
He could come back when he's ready in 6 days, whenever it is. But they're not going to bring him back a day early because you don't want to lose a roster spot for a pitcher that you need. You're not going to send down some random guy. They're going to wait till the end. Once they do that, I think we're going to see Trevor Rogers. I would be surprised if we didn't, because that was, to me, one of the most impressive situations given the circumstance.
Yeah.
The Orioles just lost a game that day, right? Because then they played that night. I didn't lose my mind. Or no, they got rained out again.
So they blew the game. They pitched to
Correct.
Devers with an open first base, which was another crazy call.
So that's what I meant to what I was trying to say, whether I'm losing my track on the rain outs.
Yeah.
But the way that they lost that game. So you got embarrassed on the first series opener where you were winning in the 6th.
Gave up 13 runs.
You gave up 18 runs in
2 innings.
In 2 innings. 2 of the last 3 innings, 18 total runs. And then you lose a backbreaker in a game against the Red Sox where everyone's mad, frustrated. That was a game you could have had decisions. Devers beats you, who's hitting about 480,000. He actually was hitting 419 at that moment when he had the game-winning hit. So all of this is working against Baltimore, and then you come out there and you shove. And you go, damn, that's impressive. So to your answer, I think we're going to see Trevor back soon. I think that's a positive here, and I think that that's something that people should look forward to. But on the other side of it, what I loved in the last game on Monday, and the Memorial Day, Sam, we talked about it, and players stepping up. A certain Dylan Carlson stepping up, faced his former team.
And hits a bomb.
It's
incredible to see something like that. You look at a guy who's had, a pretty interesting career track, and then you put him in a like a storybook situation like that. It's the classic revenge tale. And when you need him most, he comes up big. On the season, he's not been an exceptional hitter by any means, fairly below average. But to see someone step up in a big situation like that, I mean, the way that can really energize not just a team, but like everything surrounding a team, it can be huge.
Oh, for sure. And right now, it was his first hit was at Milwaukee on May 20th. First hit that put his average to .050. So below 100. And then 2 days later against Boston, 2 for 4. Next 2 games, he now has 3 hits. He's going 3 for 8. The big home run, Sam. Telling you, man, it goes 2 different ways when you face your former team. What do you think those ways are? If you light them up, what's the other option?
Well, you could always just disappoint.
Or just suck. You could stink. It's either they're going to tear you apart or you're going to remind them. You're going to remind them of what you could do. And Dylan Carlson, to your point, it's a great thing you brought up, Sam. Kind of like Ryan O'Hearn, where you're kind of cast away. It didn't work out. And Carlson's trying to find his way. You need moments like that for the Baltimore Orioles. When your stars hadn't played up to their potential, Adley Rutschman, we'll talk about Adley here in a little bit. Ryan O'Hearn has been that guy that's ascended.
Yeah, absolutely.
Gunnar is starting to find his way a little bit more. Cedric's been up and down, but he still has 30-some RBIs. But you get my point. The team's not firing on all cylinders, and yet someone steps up for that big hit. Baltimore's going to need that. If they're going to find a way to get back into this, they're going to need that, which brings me to our first full topic of today, Brad. And if you guys are new to the channel, hit that like and subscribe button. Ryan Ripken Show. We're live every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday right here on YouTube and X. And this video is brought to you by our friends over at Merit Clubs, by the way. Shout out Merit Clubs. We were there last week. And I want to point out, I put out a video of Cedric telling me which slide I should go in behind me. And since I put out that video, someone pointed out on Instagram, the Orioles have not lost since Cedric gave me the recommendations for going down the slide in Towson and for me to not hog the fun for all the families out there, which that was a little bit of a shot at me, said. I will forgive you on that. But Merit Clubs, they're back open in Canton. The pool's rocking. And cannot wait to do a show from there now that they are set in stone. Appreciate merit clubs. So, guys, hitting is so important, but you got to keep it simple. And so two people's opinions that I value tremendously, one, my Uncle Bill, and we just had the other one in here a month or so ago. We just released the interview, Brad, and that's Eddie Murray, Hall of Famer, one of the best that ever did it, arguably the best switch hitter if you want to go that far. But let's start with the first clip where my Uncle Bill Ripken, talks about, well, what he really likes from these Orioles hitters so far during this recent kind of resurgence. So let's play that clip first.
They lost 2 games in Boston early in that 4-game set, and then they won the last 2.
Yes.
When you could have folded the 10, right? You lose 2, you're playing like split doubleheaders, it's raining, this gets postponed. So they win the next 2, then they go home, and they broke an 8-game home losing streak.
Yes.
In that one, but I think some of the left-hand hitters, their approaches look so much better.
Okay.
And that's not to say you can't run into one and bump somebody to right.
Yeah.
But if we're thinking big part of the field, I think better things are going to happen.
And
So right there, my Uncle Bill's saying, hey, big part of the field. You're seeing a lot of the hits that Ryan O'Hearn has had. He's not yanking it down the line. Big part of the field. Right center, left center. Jackson Holiday, who has been swinging it exceptionally well for this ball club, using the whole part of the field, seeing that power to the opposite field gap. And he's not hooking it. If you saw earlier on, even last year, trying to pull too much isn't always the recipe for success. And look, if you don't believe me, then let's play the other clip from Hall of Famer Eddie Murray, who talked about what his batting practice, philosophy, and what his mindset was every single time he got ready for a game. So, Brad, let's play that clip on Eddie's batting practice.
Your dad, maybe in his 3rd year or something, we started to notice the younger kids on the other teams coming out to watch batting practice. And they were coming to watch me. And they watched me hit batting practice. So after I finished, they looked at Cal and they go, what was that? They say, he does that every day. That's, I start off, I hit every ball the opposite field. I don't care where you go, you could do it here. I was going to get my hands inside and hit it that way. But what I was doing was really working on just not being fooled, but I controlled this. You wouldn't believe how many people I saw break bats the first round because they're trying to yank the ball over the fence.
Too much, yeah.
I hit every ball, and that was my thing. And your dad was the greatest at, this is what he's doing every day. He does. So he just throws the ball out there. And now the balls got closer to the fence, but I still didn't want to hit him over the fence. That's not what I was up there to do. I was up there to work.
Yeah.
It's hitting the ball the other way. And then as the rounds go by, you start to pull the ball. And I probably wouldn't hit one out until the last round. But that's just how I was. I mean, weren't getting paid for BP.
Yeah, you don't get paid to be a 5 o'clock hitter, man.
Right.
You get paid if you hit them over the fence at 7.
So that simple approach. Eddie didn't care where it was in the first round. And if the ball's right at his face, he was still trying to hit it the other way. And why? It got him prepared to be able to go out and play at 7. And you even heard him mention, I could have hit home runs in BP, but they don't pay me to hit home runs and be a 5 o'clock hitter. For that reference, for those that don't know, people can be called a 5 o'clock hitter or just a BP hero, So when they say, hey, don't pay you to be a BP guy or 5 o'clock hitter, they play you when the lights come on at 7 p.m. to show up. And Eddie showed up, worked out for him, hit over 500 home runs, 3,000 hits. He's one of the few players to ever accomplish that feat. And it's an approach. It's not a coincidence to me, Zach. Ryan O'Hearn is on an absolute tear. If you watch his at-bats yesterday, his 2 hits that he had, the other way. And guess what? He's driving the baseball with authority.
Yeah.
So he's getting his hits, but he's a complete hitter right now because he is driving it to wherever it's pitched.
Yeah, I mean, they brought it up on the broadcast yesterday on Masson. Ryan O'Hearn, before the game, was talking to Kevin Brown and them, and they asked him about his approach, and it just right on cue. He said, I'm trying to fall behind, and then Q shot one over, break your soul pretty much. Like just you want me to, try to roll over and pull this, and nope, I'm just going to flip it over the shortstop real fast, and now I'm sitting on first base. And if you look at the guys that have been successful more than just Ryan O'Hearn this season, even Jackson Holiday, when he's over these past 30 games at this point, the biggest, I guess, I don't want to say change that he's seen, I guess from the results at least, is he is using the whole field. There have been times where obviously, yes, maybe the power is not as much. He's not pulling the ball as much for these big home runs, the big grand slams. But when he's coming up and he's going gap to gap, whether it's a single, whether it's a double, he's using the whole field, and it's getting harder and harder to pitch to him because they're both at the point where, if you throw him something on the outside, they're not going to roll over it. Gunnar Henderson, when he's at his best, we see so many home runs go left center down the power alley because these guys, when they're thinking big part of the field, that's when they're at their best. When they're using a full field, Adley Rutschman, another example, when he's at his best. Jordan Westbrook, when he's at his best, they're using the full field. Colton Cowser talked about it in spring training. He said, hey, people are saying that wall is impacting righties. He's like, it's impacting me as well because I've been having to try to pull more over the past few years because I don't want to hit a fly ball out there. That's an out. Now, all of a sudden, he can think more big part of the field. He can use the power alley to left. And I think that's where it helps these guys. It's that mindset of using the whole field. You don't have to pull everything, and then we're grounding out 4 straight guys going to first or second. Using the whole field, that mindset. And I think you're seeing it kind of work in front of your eyes right now for the Orioles.
And baseball's different right now where I know when people want to go, wait a minute, Eddie played at a time where it's different spin rates and the velocity is harder. By the way, guys still threw very hard back then. The velo is harder now, but mentality and approach stays the same. If you go and watch the best hitters in baseball, give me one. Who's the best player in baseball right now?
Shohei Ohtani.
Okay. Can Shohei hit the ball anywhere at any time for power?
Yes.
Yep. How about give me another one? Who's the guy in New York for the Yankees?
Judge.
That dude has so much opposite field juice. Yep. And yes, I know he plays at Yankee Stadium when they're like, hey, it's just a fly ball to hit it over there. Guess what? He's sitting there. I'm going to use the whole field.
He's doing it more than just New York.
No doubt about it. We'll go to Boston since the Orioles were just there. Rafael Devers was on a bender. And Rafi does a great job of using the entire field. So you can look at all of this. The best hitters in the world, if they know how to use it right, they can almost feel like they're unstoppable. And those 3 players right now, they feel like they're unstoppable. If you're able to use the whole field and use your abilities like that, you can have high numbers, but you don't have to be a home run hitter to have that success. No. And that's the part with Ryan O'Hearn. Ryan O'Hearn's having a phenomenal year, and he's got power. I'm not saying Ryan's going to hit 40 jacks, but Ryan can hit over 300 if he keeps this up. Why? Because 2 strikes, hey, I'll take a jam base hit the other way. I'm not going to be fooled because I'm going to stay on this ball longer. And you're seeing it more and more. And I love that. I think that that's something, if you want to teach young kids moving forward, and you could say all about philosophies, if you find a way to make something happen with 2 strikes, you're going to have more success. And if you're able to teach young kids the power and the secret sauce, it's like Michael Jordan in Space Jam with the secret juice or whatever he has, and it makes you think that you can be a superhero or have superpowers. That's to me with hitting. If you can teach a player to believe that they can drive the ball the other way, good things are going to happen. So I love it. I love Eddie's perspective. I love what these hitters are doing in the game. And it just goes to show you, using the whole field is still the cool thing to do. And I know home runs are cool too, but if you like that video and this conversation, hit that like and subscribe button. Ryan Ripken Show. We're here live every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday on YouTube and X. And then if you really want to be a part of the whole situation here, you can join and be a channel member for us. And look, it comes back to making this all better here. And we're trying to teach intern Sam the ropes here, and we're working on it. And one of these days, intern Sam might be driving the bus back there that Brad's doing.
One day I might be the next Brad.
Oh,
Ooh.
shit.
That could be me.
Already coming to take my job.
Well, there it is. Intern Sam, though, but in all seriousness, it helps our channel as we continue to try to build this up here. And we do have some great sponsors, obviously. We got a bar here. So Deep Eddy has been tremendous. Hollywood Casino, which we'll take a trip up there in a little bit. Obviously, Merritt Clubs. Shout out Iron Rooster. They'll be here tomorrow to cook live. But our community, you guys drive this for us. And I thank you guys because just 20 months ago, we were just sitting on a couch reminiscing about who knows what, and look where we are now. But it starts with you guys. So click that join to become a member.
Hey.
Rips Good Kids or Holy Shirts and Pants.
It's also a good time to say, if you are a business owner out there watching the show, we are looking still.
Mm-hmm.
Looking for sponsors to help support the show still. If you're looking to invest in us, you believe in what we're doing, come contact us at brad@ryanripkenmedia.com.
And that's it. When I move, you move.
Just like that.
Do you know who sings that? When I move, you move, Sam? Just like that.
Jesus.
He's young.
He's too young for this.
He's young. At least he probably knows more movie quotes than Zach. But
Probably.
We'll
I don't
quiz
even
him.
know if I don't even know if that's true, honestly. And I consider
forget how
myself
young
to
You're
be
not
someone who
gonna
listens.
know the movie quotes they throw out there.
No.
Oh, definitely not. And I don't
Just-
expect.
You know what
myself
makes me
to.
sad?
Just say Austin Powers if they ever ask. Austin
That seems like it would be a
Powers.
good bet.
So you know what makes me when I think about it that way, like those are movies now, Brad, where we know with Zach, we can say like, okay, you're a little young, but it's still like in your range. Like,
Yeah, like I should know.
like
I-
Sam now, it's like
he's had
oh,
every
these
excuse in the
movies.
world.
It's
Yeah.
it's totally out of my bounds.
these movies are decades
Well,
ago.
so, and that's where I'm at. So I'm 39 years old. I was born in 1986, but I've seen a ton of movies that were well before my time, like Smokey and the Bandit, the Blues Brothers, like all those older movies, because they're good movies, and my parents raised me right. So I don't know what the
You
the-
insinuating?
I don't know what the
something, Brett.
yes, I don't know what the parents of today's
these kids,
yeah, they don't
these kids nowadays.
they don't
These
know
damn
shit.
kids don't watch
It's-
anything.
Exactly. And it starts with Zach and
They're
Lord knows Kevin.
They're sucked into their phones. They won't
Yeah.
get off my lawn.
Yeah, they just don't know how to talk to people
That's right.
anymore.
That's right.
They don't want to hold a conversation. Gosh, we are getting old if we start talking like
Don't out
that.
yourselves too much.
Man, no, but you know what? This is what's been fun with the community. We got people from different ages tuning in, from being the youngins to all the way if you're a little bit older and everyone in between. We appreciate each and every one of you. And with one of our super when you order a Kevin on Team U and intern Sam arrives.
Yo, that's so funny because they went to the same damn high school.
No, we did. Yeah.
That is hilarious.
That's true. Yeah, there it is.
That is hilarious.
There it is. Hey, let's keep it moving, guys. We're going to keep it moving on our program here. We have Jerry Hairston Jr. joining us in about 20 minutes. Catch up from him, what he's going on in L.A. Also, if Jerry's not like working with the Dodgers, I swear, we're talking about a guy that loves his golf and is also a beast. Jerry Hairston Jr. He can swing it. We have another former friend of the show and program. He's still a friend of the program. Nick Moore on the Ravens here. We know that man loves his golf.
Oh, yeah.
But Jerry Hairston Jr. can talk to us about the inner workings of the season. He's watching the superstar team out there with the Dodgers, who have dealt with their own stretch of injuries, but also the adversity that goes into a 162. I did want to shout out Joe. I see that. R.I.P. Armando.
Who's Armando?
And I honestly, if there's more context, I would like to know, but I'm sorry for your loss. If that is the case, but thank you. I would like to take a second here. Just one moment.
Okay.
And now my thoughts are back, right? Sometimes you just got to regroup your thoughts. And you know what? I think some people want to second guess themselves or want to say something maybe too quickly, or they just want to tell you something in hindsight because it feels good. So in this case, where conversation number 2 goes, Dan O'Dowd, former general manager, has his Oriole ties and throughout baseball in Cleveland. It's another place. And I really do love Dan. He did have a comment that came out recently where he expressed, and Zach, you can cue the graphic, where he said, I would have taken Bobby Witt over Adley Rutschman, with the number 1 overall pick in 2019. So to refresh your memories here, Adley Rutschman was the surefire number 1 pick. Consensus. Like there wasn't a debate who was number 1. It was the guy from Oregon State, the switch hitting catcher, number one. And then there was this talented shortstop coming out of high school that has a baseball pedigree in his family that obviously has intangibles, but there are going to be some question marks.
Yeah.
And so it's one thing now. Why is this conversation coming up? Because we are now 6 years later. Bobby Witt Jr. is an MVP type player, and Adley Rutschman is having struggles now in his 4th big league season since he came up in 2022. And I sit here and look, I understand where this conversation goes, but can we not forget what Adley's impact was on the team when he did come up here?
Not only that, but like what he was in the draft pool. And I don't want to take this away from Zach because Zach actually brought this up. And I thought it was a great point. Zach, you want to remind the people what happened and why Adley Rutschman was the number 1 overall pick in that draft?
I mean, literally, if people forget that it was in the College Baseball World Series, bases loaded, Adley Rutschman was walked intentionally.
Yeah.
They told him to take his base. They'll give him the RBI because no one wanted to face him. Like, he was consensus. And, you know, I went through.
The Royals would have drafted Adley.
Yeah.
If he was available.
Anyone who had the number 1 overall pick was going to take Adley.
Yes.
And so I went back. I found some mock drafts. May 23rd, 2019, Jonathan Mayo of MLB Network, number 1 pick, Adley Rutschman. On May 29th, 2019, Fangraphs, number 1 pick, Adley Rutschman. Now we go back. Now we have Jim Callis of MLB.com, May 31st, 2019, number 1 pick, Adley Rutschman. Adley Rutschman, number 1 pick for Bleacher Report on.
Does Dan O'Dowd have a mock draft? Because that would have been hilarious.
I've been trying to find it. Don't worry. But I got something. Don't worry. Then all of a sudden we have CBS. First pick, Adley Rutschman. Perfect Game. First pick, Adley Rutschman. And then after, didn't have time to crop, download, and do all that. But after the draft, on MLB Network, Dan O'Dowd said that he loves and could not think of a more perfect place for all the first 4 picks to go, and said that it was the perfect thing to do for each team because it fits all their needs and all of them got the best player they needed.
I think that that's a perfect example or perfect way to put it because it was.
Adley
Rutschman was a part of a huge transformation for this ball club and had been an all-star the prior 2 seasons.
Yeah.
And yes, I understand offensively, and you can say defensively, there's some things going on, or he's not reaching those metrics that you want. Well, guess what? He's still a catcher that has left an imprint on this team. I believe in the talent long-term, and it was the right move. We don't know how prospects are going to always turn out. Bobby Witt Jr. is an MVP. But guess what? Gunnar Henderson was a 2nd-round pick that everyone had a chance to go and get, and Baltimore took a chance on him. And guess what? Gunnar Henderson, if you were going to poll general managers around baseball, there isn't 10 other players that they are taking in front of Gunnar Henderson.
No.
Same thing with Bobby Witt Jr. That's how the draft plays out. Pete Crow Armstrong now on the Cubs. Yeah, he was a 1st-round pick. Wasn't the first pick, right?
Yeah.
Point being, players develop differently. And star players in the draft, you don't know which one's going to shine the brightest. It is a fun exercise for some to go back and play that game. But let's just face it. It's always going to be 2020. Do you think then going around the NFL draft, the Raiders would have taken Jamarcus Russell if they had thought back to how things went?
Probably not.
I think the Jets would have gone for Zach Wilson.
Probably not. But if you go and do that workout and throw it across your body, it tells people that you're in.
I swear that throw
You don't see that every time in the NFL.
Right.
You don't see that play being made. Or
well,
how
now it's like a routine pro day thing that they do now is the Zach Wilson. Like that's the thing that QBs will now just try and recreate at their pro days, and the impact and frankly some of the damage that has happened with assessing QBs coming into the draft because of that throw. It's incredible, but I digress.
Well, if you can do that, you are guaranteed.
You just might go
absolutely
top
nothing.
3.
There's a couple of people that have takes right now of taking Gunnar over Bobby Witt. I love Gunnar. I think he's a generational talent. Still not taking him over Bobby at this point or even in the draft.
Well, right, and that's Bobby went where he did.
He should have gone, and he's living up to that. I'm not saying that like Gunnar isn't going to be a generational talent. So like, let me just make that clear. But if I had a choice, I'm still taking Bobby Witt over Gunnar every single damn time.
Well, right now, you can say why Bobby Witt, because he has figured out all parts of his game at the moment. Upside, I'd still argue for Gunnar because Gunnar
and he took a team-friendly deal.
So there's a lot of things why I'm looking at it right there. I'm going to say that Gunnar's contract's going to be a little bit more expensive when the time comes, but both tremendous players. This is the crapshoot with the draft. It's the crapshoot with anything in professional sports. Nikola Jokic in the NBA was not a first-round pick. The Nuggets took him, and people, when the time, it was just one of those things. It was just flashed across the board. Wasn't even
Taco Bell commercial, wasn't it?
Yeah, the big quesarito.
The big quesarito. And guess what? He is the best player in the NBA, right? And then you have on the other spectrum of it, Anthony Edwards goes to the top of the draft, and guess what? He turns out to be a star, right? We don't know. But what we do know is we're going to talk about it 6 years later on what could or couldn't have been. But for the time being, Adley Rutschman, the talent is still there. For me, it's going to be, can Adley figure out how to fight Adley Rutschman? If he can do that, we're going to see the numbers progress. And when you're a catcher, you have a lot more responsibilities than just going out there and hitting. You got to be able to do so much more. That's why when you look at catchers' numbers offensively over the years, like Salvador Perez is that guy that comes to mind that's done tremendously.
I can't believe that guy's still playing baseball. I really can't.
And he's not catching as much, but it's still incredible.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Yadier Molina was one of the best defensive catchers, but offensively he had his limitations. Good player. Buster Posey is the name that everyone goes to. Buster was the pinnacle of superstar and being just an anchor to a pitching staff. And those are few and far between. Just be honest. But even other guys, catchers take a ton of abuse. So we're going to have to wait and see what's going to happen. But don't sleep on Adley just yet. Don't close the door on him, Baltimore. I know we had Buck Showalter and a lot of other people rave. Hey, don't close the door on him. See what happens. And you know what? We're going to see what's going to happen. We're going to see what's going to happen with another catching prospect down in AAA who's eventually going to make his way up to Baltimore here. I think you guys might have heard of him. His name's Samuel Basayo. He's a talented player. Could he be the next big thing? Maybe. Could he not? Maybe. We'll find out here. But if you are new to the channel, hit that like and subscribe button. Ryan Ripken Show. Do it live Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. I want to talk a little bit more baseball, but I want us to give us a little break as we get ready for Jerry Hairston Jr. because we're going to talk to him in about 10 minutes. So, Brad, I don't know if you have any polls.
I'm actually working
on
one right now.
You're working on one right now. Maybe it's a good time to talk about a couple of things we saw around the game this week or weekend. One of the things I wanted to bring up, and Sam, maybe you haven't seen this. I'll show it to you right now. How about that game out in the sack with the Athletics? Sacramento. Hey, Marcotte got tossed from the game. And it wasn't as simple as you're just going to walk right back into your dugout. Oh, no sirree. You're going to take the long way out. Let me pull that video up for you guys. Here we go. 3, 2, 1. Whammy.
Point your finger at me.
You're gone. And then guess what? And he's just going to keep going. Because why the dugout or the clubhouse is out in the outfield. And just think about that at time. You're really letting them have it, and you're just taking a nice little stroll.
Absolute walk of shame.
That's my thoughts exactly.
We should have to do that.
They should keep that stadium right there. They should just make that the permanent home of the Athletics. Cancel the deal with Vegas. Keep them there so that stuff like that can just keep happening over and over.
Or they
If you
just
get tossed, you
design.
have to take a lap.
I was gonna say they just design the Vegas stadium like this.
I kind of like that rule. You get tossed, you got to take a lap. You got to
Mhm.
cool off. What if they did that instead of tossing you? Like they're like, you need to cool off, take a lap, and like you just had to walk across the entire warning track until you got back to your dugout just to cool off.
I like this the Game of Thrones.
Yeah, have you guys seen Game of Thrones at all?
No, I haven't.
Oh my gosh.
my God! Shame!
That's what it's all.
Shame!
Let's put it out here. Shame. Shame.
I know that scene.
Shame. But it's not even shame because you know what? He's mad and he's sticking up for his team. But the walk is still
Oh well, and
Shame.
the crowd was loving it. They gave him a standing O as he's walking out.
I mean,
there.
that's incredible. Like,
yeah.
who wouldn't want to watch
Definitely
something like
better
that?
being the home manager walking out of there like that than the away manager. Because could you imagine being an away manager? Imagine like playoff baseball. You're an away manager and you get tossed in like a high leverage, and you just have to walk, and all those fans are just sitting there. You're going to hear some crazy.
Mm-hmm.
so maybe, now I'm kind of for, put the dugouts out
That's
down
what
the
I'm saying.
lines.
Yeah.
That would
Put
be.
them just out of reach.
I will say it is nice from the clubhouse. You can just go right in. It's very nice as a player.
Yeah.
But from a
disappear.
visual standpoint, it's really cool to
For
kind
the
of see.
sake of baseball, we must move all of them as far away from the dugouts as we can.
And then you can get the music going.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Get the fans going. Can make it into something.
You could do like stuff with the lights and stuff like that. Like you'd have enough time for the production team to really have
Oh,
fun
yeah.
with that.
You have them
Put
put-
something on the jumbotron.
Mhm.
Just have all the lights go off and you just have a spotlight following them.
That's perfect. That's perfect.
I think we're onto something here.
Well,
Mhm.
yes.
Walk of shame. Go cool off.
If they're going to be in the sack, that what makes yourself unique, do that.
Yeah.
You're hit.
ejection
That's
walk of
hit the road, Jack.
Yeah.
Hit the road in the sack.
I think this.
That doesn't sound right.
Yeah.
Well, don't add that to the bill of it, but make yourself unique. Make yourself unique out there, and that ballpark is definitely something there.
Really something.
The A's, unfortunately, though, they've got off to a good start. They've been kind of struggling here. We'll see if they right the ship. There are no LA Angels right now that have jumped them. The A's have lost 9 to 10.
Yep.
They're 23-31.
The A's are fine.
The A's are fine. I love that you did that. You know what I'm also interested in before this is just on, it's kind of, we take a little quick tour around certain things. Brad, there's 2 other events, I guess, that happened, or 3 events in your eyes this weekend.
Yes.
You watched every bit of racing.
Yeah.
From Formula One.
Yep.
Indy 500.
Yeah.
And the Charlotte 600, which is NASCAR.
Coca-Cola.
It's cool. 14 hours.
Yeah, 14 hours of racing on Sunday. It's the greatest day of racing all year long. So you had Monaco in the morning, started at 9 a.m. Eastern time, and then the Coca-Cola 600 didn't end until 11 p.m. around there. So absolutely incredible day of racing. And wildest Indy race I've ever seen in my entire life. Have you ever watched an Indy race?
Yeah.
Like the Indy 500? Wrecks everywhere. Started before they even took off. The warm-up lap and you started in caution, and then the last lap ended in caution. Literally, one of the drivers drove into their pit crew, injuring one of them. One of the pit crew, another incident where another pit crew guy caught himself on fire. I mean, like literally everything happened in the Indy race, and the other 2 races were kind of crazy as well. But like the Indy 500, craziest Indy 500 I've ever seen in my entire life. Just wild.
I really would love to have.
Dude's on fire.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, they were fueling one of the pit crew guys was fueling an Indy car, took the gas tank or
Spilled
not.
a little bit.
Their brakes were on fire.
Oh.
So when they pulled or like maybe it was a gearbox that was on fire. Anyways, the car was on fire because it was so hot. So they pull the fuel line out after they refueled, catches the guy on fire. He was fine, but his hands got burnt up because it was just a crazy day in race. I mean, it just wrecks everywhere. Just wild.
I guess that's an entertainment factor. Hope everyone is okay. but that's also
That's a hell of a show
If I
to
was
watch.
working
So-
on a car and the guy next to me caught on fire, like I'd be like, I'm going.
So there's also there's
another day
also
at the office.
also something that's only been done by a select few drivers, and that is to race in the Indy 500 and then go back and actually race in the Coca-Cola 600 in the same day. Kyle Larson tried to repeat doing it. He didn't do it last year because there was a rain delay in Indy and like it just didn't happen. This time around, he tried to make it happen again. Obviously, with all the cautions and stuff, it was going to be tight, but he made it. He ends up wrecking in the Indy 500, out for the race. Really disappointing. And then he gets to the Coca-Cola 600, then wrecks in that race too, ends his day. So he couldn't even finish both races, even though he flew from Indianapolis to Charlotte, got in that race car, still wrecked. It was just a tough day all around for that guy.
Yeah, tough go. But hey, power to him for being able to be in both.
Oh my! Well,
Like-
yeah. There's only been one guy that's done it, I would say, successfully, in my opinion, and that was
he definitely did not do it successfully if he wrecked them both. That's kind of just like
no,
I would. Be
There's
so
different
annoyed.
levels of success.
like actually
yes, he-
finishing the races.
If
Tony Stewart was the only one that I would say is like he successfully did it because
it's
he
a tough
finished both races and did well in both.
You're-
Didn't win them, but like
You're
did
getting
well.
back on the plane, going back, and you're like, this was a wasted trip.
But imagine this. So like like a race is hard. You're
Yeah.
racing an Indy 500. You're running 500 miles in a race for 3 hours, whatever it is. You lose probably about 10 pounds in water weight just in that one race. Then you have to get on a plane. You get IV'd up, and you go into another, track. You're flying an hour. You land and all that. You get yourself strapped in a car. Hopefully you got enough food and water back into your system to be able to run another 600 miles. So you're doing 1,100 mile race, essentially 1,100 mile race in what, 8 hours? Just crazy.
Sounds awful.
I'm going to say that's
Well, we
not.
did back from Florida.
Yeah, well, that is kind of what we did from Florida. Not at all.
We lost, though.
But we'll tell people that we did that.
In 8 hours? I don't think so.
Actually, the trip was supposed to be like 11 hours, and it took 16.
Yeah.
It was more than 60.
Yeah,
I
it
did
was-
feel bad for Kyle because like the first wreck was kind of his fault. Second one, he was just part of another wreck. He tried to get out of it, and then he just ended up getting slammed into. What his fault? But just
Imagine what's going through your head with that.
to
You go-
DNF in both is
You get in the first race, you crash, you go, all right, well, I guess I get to do it again now. And then you go and you do it, and you just you get in that situation, you're powerless to do so. You said it wasn't really his fault. And you're just thinking like, man,
just wasn't his day.
I'd
Like,
get
come
out of the
on.
car with
He was
the
having a
strongest
great
face.
race in the 600. By the way, just like he
that's
had
just gotta be
potential to
so
win that race.
frustrating.
Had the potential to win that race. Was in a great car. Was doing well, and then just got wrecked into.
Yeah, you know what? I was thinking about this of having been in a NASCAR or IndyCar wreck there.
Yeah.
But you kind of look at the positives. But in that case, it's like
It was just a shitty day.
this was not what I was anticipating.
Yeah.
This was supposed to be fun.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it didn't end with the result that you wanted, but that's just how the way the cookie crumbles from time to time. But you know what? That's one thing I want to check off my bucket list is going to a big time NASCAR race.
You never been to one?
Well, I went as a kid. I want to go as an adult,
Okay.
like the full experience.
Yeah.
And I would love to go to the Indy 500, and I would love to go maybe send me down to Daytona.
Dude,
Or just because of Talladega Nights,
Yeah,
send
oh,
me
yeah.
to Talladega.
dude, you
Talladega.
got to just get in a car. Like I did 24 laps in Richmond in a
Race car?
Yeah, in a NASCAR race car. Unbelievable. I mean, you have to learn how. Well, I think they probably have some automatic ones. You do have to learn how to drive stick to really experience it. But I did about 140 miles an hour in Richmond. That was pretty awesome.
Dang. That is maybe I'll have to get the Need for Speed here.
That's be some great content for the
It
show.
would be great content, and we're going to continue to grow this media and our content day by day, week by week. But in the meantime, we appreciate each and every one of you. And so make sure you guys hit that like and subscribe button. Ryan Ripken Show. We're live here every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday right here in YouTube and on X. And we're also on the Spotify platforms and Apple, wherever you get your podcasts. So when the episodes are done, we put them up in the evening. So when you're driving around in your car and you want to listen to some episodes, check it out there and leave us a review. If you like us, great. hit 7 stars. There's only 5, but just try to give the effort there. But it's really for us to get the reach out there to more, and it means a ton to us. I think also maybe I'll put those Hall of Fame interviews on there as like bonus episodes. Is that probably what I might end up doing, Brad?
Yeah.
Could do that. Because people have asked me about adding the audio component, but then obviously go watch it on YouTube. We're right there. You want more video content? It's all right there, and we appreciate that all for you. While we're waiting here, Brad, you got a quick poll?
Yeah, so I'm about ready to put it out, but should the hot dog race be in-person race only from this point moving forward?
And that's a simple yes or no.
Yeah.
And should there be a plain dog option? Should be also could be a
Plain
Stick to the
dog.
original.
Oh, Sam, you don't know this yet.
No,
But-
I don't.
Yeah, well, we're gonna save
You
it.
don't want to.
We'll save the time because of our guests.
All
But
right, we'll pin this.
it's just like for anything. Like if you like a good steak, right?
Mhm.
If it's a good steak, you don't need to put anything on it, okay? Because it's a good steak.
Yeah, but
Okay,
it's not a hot dog.
But you know, if you like a hot dog, you don't have to put anything on it. That's my point. If you like the dog, you eat it plain. I digress. You can simmer on that and just sit there.
Yeah, I'll sit with this for a little bit. I see where your logic is.
No, you
I
don't.
don't
Yes.
agree. I don't agree with it, but I do see it.
What I heard is I see it. That's the only way. It's the right way. And you're not allowed to have another opinion here, at least on this programming.
That's what. Yeah, that's because you're the intern.
Yep, that's it. Hey, intern Sam. But you know what? I think he's ready. If you're ready, Jerry, give me a thumbs up. We'll rock. Boom. All right. I'm excited. Been a little bit. I've been talking to Jerry behind the scenes because I miss him. I miss talking to him. But gosh, all the years that Jerry Hairston Jr. played, if you're in Baltimore, you definitely remember the name. And now he's out there doing work as an analyst for the Los Angeles Dodgers, and in his free time as well, he's hitting the links and still hitting the ball 350 yards. Let's bring on your friend and mine, Jerry Hairston Jr. Jerry.
Ryan, what's going on, buddy? I don't know about 350, maybe downwind, downhill. I did hit some drives. I was just in Park City. Nomar Garciaparra has a great place out there, so we kind of hung out for the weekend. A couple of the boys' golf trip, had a blast, and it can be deceiving in that thin air, high altitude. You can hit it a long ways.
Yeah, well, I got to say, though, every time I see a video of you, if you put it up on Instagram, the swing looks good. So I just assume 350 because, you stay in shape, you're fit. Who else would you say that you've been around that maybe surprised you on how good of a golfer that they are? Because you've played with a ton of people, athletes, current players, former players. Who's ones that you're like, dang, I didn't know that was a part of your game?
Well, that's a great question. I've played with some really good baseball players. Tyler Clippard is a great player.
Mm-hmm.
Great player. I think he won a couple years ago the Invitational Whit Merrifield had, who's the best baseball player golfer. He won it the year I entered that group. And then I think last year, Aaron Hicks. I played with Aaron Hicks quite a few times. We lived by each other in Scottsdale. I believe if he wants to, he'll eventually get to the senior tour. He's that good. Hits it a long ways. He married Tiger Woods' niece, Cheyenne Woods. She's helped him with his short game. So now he's added that to his bag. So he's a great, great player. And his name has escaped me right now. He is the Angels pitching coach. I play with him a lot. If you guys could look that up for me.
We're looking it up right
Yeah,
now.
he is a great player. I think he, eventually, if he keeps playing, he's get a chance to play pro at one point. Again, I can't think of his name right now, but great player. I played with him a couple of times. Actually, he helped my golf game. Gave me a tip on the drive, and I added about 20, 25 yards to my drive. So I sometimes play with Jay Gibbons out here in L.A. I play with Brady Anderson. Have a good time. And for basketball players, Byron Scott, I don't know if you guys remember the name. Byron Scott played in the 80s with the Lakers. He's a really good golfer. Talks a lot of trash, too.
No, I'm sure. I'm sure he does. And it was it Barry Enright is the pitching coach?
There it is right there. Enright. Barry Enright. Sorry, Barry. Dude, I just came out from the gym. Still a little huffing and puffing. Brain's not all there. So Barry's a great golfer.
Yeah, I mean, hey, that's why he said he helped you hit the ball 25 more yards. So Jerry's going to be back to smacking at 350. Hey, Jerry, I got a couple things for you today, or maybe 2 to 3, depending on the time. I saw your opinion on this, and I was trying to remember if I've ever seen it called, because it was called against the Mets. And I think you know where I'm going with this, the obstruction call on Max. I can't remember an obstruction call from a visual standpoint ever being called in a game. Can you? I can't remember it too much.
No, and remember, if you go to the rule, I think it's 7.06. Obstruction is, if you impede the runner's progress. Obviously, if you step in his way, if you grab, you hold him, or if the runner runs into you as a fielder, yes, that is obstruction. Nowhere in the rule book does it say line of sight. That's the only call he made, the umpire, a line of sight. There's not that wording is not in the rules. So how is that a rule? It's not. So that was a blown call. They missed it, and I'm just thankful it didn't happen in the postseason. Didn't happen in the play. Can you imagine that happening? So we're fortunate we won that ball game. Once again, that is not in the rule book. If they want to go back and change it and put it line of sight, they need to do that. But that is not in the rule book, and they missed the call.
Yeah, I went back and looked at it over and over, and I actually did a little breakdown on it. And I even could say, hey, if he truly blocked his vision, and you want to make that call, which, again, your interpretation or whatever the rule book says, but I watched it, and Marte, nothing of his stride or even his eyesight to me changed initially. And I know players, you do too. I know guys that sometimes would be down there intentionally, maybe unintentionally, to maybe block some sight. But for Marte, he just moved his head a little bit, had a clear shot. And then Teoscar came up with a hose. It was a great play that's erased because of a judgment call. That's what I tell people. I've never seen it called in a game. And there's a reason why it's not, because you have to be 1,000% accurate. And also, I don't know, the rule's up for interpretation. I digress. They won that game. Yep, Dodgers are still pretty good, Jerry.
Yes.
Even with all the injuries. Shohei is the best player besides Aaron Judge consistently. He hits a leadoff home run, it feels like, every single time I turn on the TV now. But talk to me how the Dodgers deal with handling so many injuries, and they just don't skip a beat. I mean, it helps having Freddie Freeman, who feels like he's at the peak of his career despite everything he's done. They just have guys stepping up, and it does help when you do have a guy like Shohei that can really bring that star power whenever he sees fit.
It's amazing. Obviously the Dodgers get a lot of notoriety because they're a big market. It's LA, it's Hollywood. And the last couple of years, a lot of attention for spending money. But they don't get credit for spending money wisely, okay? They made sure that they made the decision to extend Mookie Betts after they traded for him, to go out and sign Freddie Freeman where no team wanted Freddie Freeman, who's a free agent. They didn't want him. Atlanta Braves, hey, we loved you, but you know what? We feel you're going to, get a little older. We're going to go get a young guy, and Olsen, who's a great player. Mm-hmm. They made that decision. But Freddie was out there. Up until spring training, nobody wanted Freddie Freeman. But the Dodgers do a great job of getting high-character guys. So when stuff happens with guys on the injured list, guys get hurt, no excuses in that clubhouse. They have great leaders in that clubhouse. Teoscar Hernandez, another guy. A lot of teams did not want him. He was open in the market this past offseason, had a great postseason, great year. There could have been teams going out there and sign him. They chose not to. Dodgers said, okay, we will resign him. He is a great leader and has helped Andy Pages' development as well with this team. So I think to answer your question, they continue to keep the train moving with all the injuries because they have high-character guys in that clubhouse, and they're accountable. So if you lose 2 games or 3 games in a row, hey, that's enough. No excuses. Go out there, play good baseball. We roll off 4, 5, 6 wins in a row to make sure that we keep the train moving, even though we have a lot of injuries.
I mean, injuries are a part of the game, and no one's going to feel sorry for you if you are banged up or if you're not playing well. And that's what I've admired, because the Dodgers have high-character players talented veterans at the same time, and everything's stabilized. And I want to give credit then to Dave Roberts, because, Jerry, this is where I'll wrap up the conversation and let you go. But I want your take then, because this is something the Orioles now, and we've talked about this in texting of, woof, it had been a rough start. Now they've won 3 in a row. It's a long way to go, but they have some decisions down the road of what that new leadership's going to be. Dave Roberts has been a staple for this team, and he's a veteran. You know, in your mind, what's the value of having somebody that has been around for so long? Because I know with Baltimore, they're going to have to face, do we go and get somebody that's been there and done that? Or do we take a risk on a new voice, but doesn't have that experience with so much expectations to face?
That's a great question. And I know that they're going to have some decisions to make. What the Dodgers decided to do, they took a chance on a new manager years back, Dave Roberts. It was his first managerial gig, but they took a guy who understood analytics, but, and this is a huge but, is a baseball lifer. Dave Roberts, if you go back to his track record, he was a walk-on UCLA, right? He grinded his way to the big leagues. He was an everyday player. He was a 25th man on the roster. He came off the bench, obviously in the World Series, to steal that critical base for the Red Sox. So he did just about everything there was in that game, in the game as a player. Then he became a coach. But I think more importantly, too, Dave Roberts does an incredible job of communicating. He reminds me a lot of Dusty Baker. He makes sure that he has a great rapport with the stars like Shohei Ohtani and Mookie Betts, but he also has a great rapport with guys before they get to the big leagues and lets them know, hey, even though you're on the 40-man and you have yet stepped foot at the big league level, I'm going to make sure I get to know you in spring training. So when you do get called up, we already know each other. So I think that is the key. It's not just in the big leagues. You hire a guy to be a cultural manager, big league level, and know the kid at A-ball, know the kid in AA and AAA, and make sure everybody's on the same page. Can you handle the media, especially in today's age, right? You got to be able to handle the media with social media and everything to be able to communicate with the front office, communicate, obviously, with the media, and be able to communicate with the players, from the stars to the rookie. You got to have that great rapport. And I think Dave Roberts does it better than anybody in sports, not just in baseball, in sports. He does a great job. So one more thing, too, and I want to emphasize this. He's not all analytics. The Dodgers, even though, hey, analytic, I'm telling you, man, they use it as stats. But if you go back and look at how he managed in the postseason, he didn't use analytics. He kept guys in long. He looked guys in the eye. He played guys where the analytics says, hey, you know what, we're not going to play you. But no, it was a gut feeling. Hey, it's the postseason. It's different than the regular season. So you have to have a guy who can marry, to have that marriage between the analytics and stats and old school. Dave Roberts does it better than anybody.
And that's why he's had so much success. And that's also why, Jerry, this is why right here, you can't measure this. You can't measure a heartbeat, and you can't measure the human element of the game. And when you've been there and you've done that and you're in the moment, there are certain things that numbers can't quantify. And I don't care how good the Dodgers have been with all the talent. To win that much, I hope everyone can understand, just because you have good talent on your team doesn't mean you are going to be a great team. And that's where Dave Roberts comes in as being that leader. And I'm excited for Dodgers fans. It's a good time to be involved with the Dodgers, Jerry. Before I let you go, where can people find you? What else you got going on besides, again, learning to hit the ball 425 yards at this point?
Well, I don't know if I'm going to get to 400. Maybe if I hit it, then I hit it again, I'll get to 425. But, I've been very fortunate the last 9 years or so. I own an agency that my cousin Charles Hairston runs called Culture 39. We've expanded now to sports and image as well. We're going to do NIL, NFL. Charles does a great job. We got a couple guys in the big leagues. We have guys in college. Have a nephew, Landon Hairston, starring at ASU as a freshman. That's Scott's son. I think he's going to be an incredible player. Blaine Brown is a freshman at Rice. I think he has a chance to be a two-way guy like Ohtani. Throws around 97, 98 miles an hour, hits bombs as well. His dad, Chris Brown, was the NFL running back. Mother was All-American volleyball player as well. So he's a tremendous athlete. And we got a kid, Luke Hill, who you guys are very familiar with, the Orioles. They're high on Luke Hill. He's at Ole Miss, absolute stud baseball player. He'll be in the draft this year. I think he's a day one guy. A lot of teams are vying for his services. So it's been fun, helping the young kids, the next generation. We're going to continue to do that and grow as an agency. But to get back to the Orioles, if you guys are looking for a manager, this is just my 2 cents. I would look at 2 guys. George Lombard, he's the bench coach of the Detroit Tigers. And I would look at Skip Schumacher. He's currently with the Rangers. Those 2 guys are great as far as mirroring that analytic world and being able to communicate with today's players. Those are 2 guys I would definitely have my eye on if I was going to choose a manager.
Yeah, just hypothetically here. And this is why I love you, Jerry. You always have a thought behind it. And Skip Schumacher is a name that someone has mentioned here, at least throughout Baltimore. And Zach's excited about that one. But George Lombard, now people are going to be doing some homework on who the heck is George Lombard.
I'm telling you, George Lombard is great.
Hey, you know what, Jerry? I trust your word, man. And you have it's been so – I appreciate everything. I really do. And go enjoy yourself. If you do hit it 350 or 400, can you text me then?
Not only would I text it, I'm going to post it on social media, and then I will send it to you guys. You guys could break it down on your next show.
Amazing.
Love it.
Perfect, Jerry. Appreciate you, man. Enjoy the rest of your day, and I look forward to talking to you soon, okay?
Anytime, guys.
Jerry Hairston Jr., everybody.
Hey.
He's the best.
Zach's happy about it.
Yeah, Zach got he was smiling from ear to ear.
Schumacher so bad.
Yeah.
I think he's the perfect guy.
I do find it interesting, though. Everybody talks about Buck Britton. There's a couple of comments about this as well. Is there, especially with the relationship that he has with a lot of the players, is there a case that could be made for Buck? I mean, obviously that would mean that you'd have to remove our current interim manager for that to happen. But I just curious thoughts on that.
I love Buck Britton. He was my manager twice in the minors. I think he is going to be a good opportunity here. And also just giving a wave to our guy, Intern Sam. Intern Sam,
bye,
see you later. His debut. Good kid. Just wait until he does the fitness challenge. Then he'll be really ready to rock and roll. No, he has no idea what's coming.
No.
Haven't even shown him it yet. See you, Sam. But to finish the part of Buck Britton, I also, to put this all in perspective, Tony Manzolino has a very good connection with these guys already himself.
Yes.
And so if they go out there and do their thing and there feels like that Tony can be the one that can run the ship, then he should be in consideration. For Buck, the one thing that I don't want to have happen is him be put in a situation where the expectations will be to a point of unfairness. And what I mean by that is Buck has done so many great things. That's why people are talking about him so much. But in the minors, it is the minors. And it's been a sample size. 7 years he's been a manager in the minor leagues.
Yeah.
Or 2018 to 2024. And he's been around the game forever. Like he played himself, no doubt about it. But if he were to get his first shot and say it was Baltimore next year, are the expectations probably going to be very similar to it now? Because guess who's also going to be on the hot seat if the team doesn't play well? It's going to be the front office. Just like Brandon Hyde was on the hot seat for what happened this season and this coaching staff. So that's where, Brad, I go with Buck. I just don't want to see him be put in a situation where it's an uphill battle. Yeah. And if you have aspirations to win now and people's jobs are on the line, is that going to be fair? And then secondly, are you going to put people in position around him to help him succeed? And that was the part that I got to this year with Brandon Hyde. They made a choice, and Brandon was the leader of the ship, could have done a lot of things better, of course. But this was a organizational failure to it. I don't want Buck to be a part of something where that hinders how people view him in the future? Because I do think he's going to be a big league manager at some point. I just don't know if next year is the right time to put him in, if that makes sense.
Or if he's going to be an Orioles manager, you know what I mean?
Yeah, but you know what? This is the organization. If it would be Baltimore, you know, it would be here because he has spent for all those reasons for this team. But I would be curious, though, you know, him getting his foot in the door, would another staff want him? Like Ryan Flaherty was the example. Ryan Flaherty's jumped around a few different places.
Yep.
Because got his foot in with one group, was with San Diego and Bob Melvin. Now he's in Chicago with Craig Counsell. So,
and that's turned a lot of those teams around, or at least part of those teams turning around.
Been a part of it. So, you know, I'm really curious. But again, like a guy like Ryan Flaherty, up and coming manager, and Jerry mentioned it. If you find the right guy that's up and coming, great. But you also got to live with the fact that there's some disappointment in year one. Like, it's a growth for managers. Dave Roberts is a much better manager now than he was year one.
Right.
So that's where we're at with that conversation here. And Jerry, can't wait for him to send us the golf clip so we can do a breakdown on 350 to 400. You know what I also love, guys? How about talking about the locker room? High character, veteran, and how that does matter for ball clubs overall. But I digress. If you're new to the channel, hit that like and subscribe button. Ripken Show, we're live every Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, right here on YouTube and X. And as I check on a couple things here, Zach, this might be a great time to check in on our friends up at Hollywood Casino and Charlestown Races in West Virginia. Nice. And our friends at Hollywood Casino Charlestown Races in West Virginia. Look, it's an hour and a half from Baltimore, hour and a half from DC. Stop traffic. We'll be back up there for another show at the end of June, which apparently there's going to be some Orioles representation.
Yeah.
Nationals representation. Apparently Mr. National.
Yeah.
Ryan Zimmerman is going to be up there, and we'll be up there to have our celebratory tequila shot as we take in every time we go to Hollywood Casino. But also, because we are up there and we'll be at the ESPN Bet Sportsbook, we'll see if Zach has some better luck than he might have had this past week, Zach. Or maybe let's roll the tape on Bolly's bets from this past week here on the Ryan Ripken Show.
Weeks of 2 for 3, and we're starting out with an old friend today. 2+ bases tonight, Austin Hayes. Let's get it done.
Martin. And the Tigers did not score, and Hayes has to back up on that last hop and back to first.
We're keeping it simple. Shohei Ohtani, 2+ bases. Let's get back in the win column, and then tomorrow we go 2 for 3.
Take in a superstar.
Don't get swept.
2-2 from Burns.
I need to see one go in the hoop. We're going Steven Kwan, 2+ bases against Jack Flaherty tonight.
Left side from Kwan. Sweeney is on his fields.
Don't get swept.
And he got swept. So straight 2 for 3 weeks. And a big old goose egg.
Apology.
Yep.
I have a written apology.
Press conference.
It's got to stand up and everything.
I apologize.
Is it a closed no questions from the media today?
I just gave my apology.
Just yourself.
Right. But so is it open for questions?
No, I wrote the apology down. I went on.
No, you're not. You just held a press conference.
No, I literally had to write down so I didn't forget it. I apologize.
He spelled it wrong.
So I apologize.
Did you spell it wrong?
Probably.
Let me turn it around.
Is that apologize?
No, it's horrible.
A pal?
Oh yeah, a pal.
Apologize.
Apologize.
I apologize.
I apologize. Apologize for my spelling as well. And this week we're getting back on track.
Yeah, so in this case, it's a closed media segment where there's no questions that the media members can ask. No further comment at this time for the press conference. But Zach, give us the first pick of the week. Oh goodness.
Jarren Duran, 2+ bases
Who are they playing?
against the Brewers. I love it.
I like
He's
that.
killed Aaron Savall past, I think it's like their past 3 or 4 matchups. He's batting 500 versus him career. Just I need someone with speed who can leg out these. I feel like I've been getting one base pretty much like 4 straight. So we're back. We're just going for speed. If it's in the outfield, run for second. Just go to second. That's what we're looking for.
Someone help Zach because he needs to get back on track.
Jaron Duran,
2+ bases.
Jaron
You
Duran.
heard it here first. Just takes one to get going. And you know what? Also, if you want to get going here with ESPN Bet, official sportsbook of ESPN Bet, or of ESPN, but Hollywood Casino has the sportsbook up there. It is ESPN Bet, and the offer stands right now. You bet 10, you get 100 in bonus bets. If you download the app, and guess what? Stop traffic. You bet 10, you get 100. You also then, for signing up, get 30 days free from ESPN Plus if you're into that type of thing. But you must be 21 or older. If you got a gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER or our friend Rocco DeSangro. He'll help you. But, guys, we appreciate our friends up at Hollywood Casino and Charlestown Races in West Virginia. Pretty good. We should get a harmonica in here one day.
I have a harmonica.
Okay, thanks for sharing that. Now
I actually got it on Kevin and Zach React last year.
I apologize.
Yeah,
All
I
right.
apologize. It's so funny because I had the correct spelling first too, and you can see where I second guessed myself. Like the A is very.
Hey,
I wrote it correctly.
Roll Dons, everybody. Go get your education at
Go
Marshall.
Herd,
By the way.
baby.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. Well, I apologize to our next guest that's about to join us here because having to sit through that performance. But
It's all better with Jaron Duran 2+ bases tonight, though.
you know what?
Everything.
Maybe Andy can help you out. But in this case, you probably see his tweets all the time. He's around the stadium, on the road, and at home. And he's writing for the Baltimore Banner constantly. What? What'd I do?
Your mother.
Mom. Jeez, Mom, be supportive. This is not. I mean, come on.
I'm just trying to
Nancy.
bring on our guest here.
Oh, Nancy.
But Nancy put him in his place. Good. But a guy that's boots on the ground day in and day out and just wrote a great article for the Baltimore Banner. Does it all the time. But let's bring on Andy Koska. Andy,
Hey.
First off, I am sorry for all of this. But how are you doing?
I'm good. I'm watching the rain fall at Camden Yards. So we'll see if we get a game in.
Yeah, you know what? Is there something therapeutic about rain at a ball field? Because I never felt that way. Like if I'm at my house, I feel relaxed. At the ballpark, it's like, this could be a rain delay, and I got to sit here for hours. Do you like rain delays, Andy?
I actually don't mind it too much because I either have a book with me, I have a computer game. I'm fine. Catch up on work, whatever it is. I love rain. But I'm reading a fantasy series right now by Tad Williams, my favorite author. I'm sure this is why you had me on the show.
Yeah, 100%.
1,000%.
Yeah.
We like our viewers to understand the person. Do they also? Sorry, does Tad Williams spell the word apologize in the?
He does. He spells it with a second A.
Yeah.
Oh.
He went to Marshall actually, and that's how they spell it. Yeah.
That's how they spelled in West Virginia. You know what? That's how I'm gonna say it.
Who would have thought? Who would have thought? Goodness. Hey, Andy, you know what? I love this. We're smiling. We're having a good time. The vibes are a little bit higher. Kind of like how it's going with the Baltimore Orioles for 3 straight days, right? The team seems like there's a little bit more of a relief. The Trevor Rogers game where people had some stress and maybe some frustration turned in almost to like a moment of hope here. But you talk about it. You've been around there seeing this team win 3 in a row the first time they've done it all season.
Yeah, it's here's a winning streak. Momentum is a very real thing in baseball, and string a couple good starts together. I mean, it's funny. We're gonna, this is kind of tongue in cheek, but like in August when this team is fighting to get back into playoff contention, we're gonna look back and be like, oh, Trevor Rogers, 6 1/3, guy gets a tattoo on his butt. Like that's when the season turned around. That's kind of it would be hilarious if that's the case, but it almost feels like string something together. But a long way to go. They're still 15 games below 500. So you're only as good as your next day starting pitcher, as Showalter used to say.
It's true. And also, Calvin and the Aztats has been out the wazoo. He initially was like, hey, we could stream this live while we get it done. I'm like, you know what? We're gonna stop there.
Yeah.
We'll let you have that experience.
We had him on last year when he did put Heston on his ass cheek.
Right, but he wanted us to. He's like, we could stream it for talking about it's where we draw the line here.
Yeah.
We'll let Andy go there for some journalistic coverage next time when Calvin does it. But Andy, I mean, there's a few articles, obviously. I know you've been posting out there. One positive, obviously, Charlie Morton was extremely great to see, and a lot of fans, almost an apology letter, right, so to speak. But that's not the one that probably drew more attention, Andy, and I think you know where I'm going with this. It was the piece with the departure of Brandon Hyde. And I'm curious, and for those that haven't checked it out, you should go check out the work on Baltimore Banner. But you were alluding to kind of the inner workings of how this all kind of came about, and that there was more issues, at least from inside, than just saying, hey, remove this manager and this is going to solve all the problems that they're still trying to weed out.
Yeah, I think you look at anything in life, it is easier to say because of why X is happening, but it's more nuance is always going to be at play. So when basically the story, just for folks who didn't read it, the story kind of highlights the last week or so of Brandon Hyde's tenure. It looks at 3 team meetings inside the clubhouse, one led by Brandon Hyde in Anaheim, where he attempted to galvanize the lineup that has been slumping for most of the season. There was a players only meeting Friday before he was fired, and then there was a Saturday meeting. Once he is fired, Michael Elias comes in and issues a brief statement to the team announcing that there was change deemed necessary. That change came in the form of Brandon Hyde being fired. Michael Elias took accountability ultimately for the start as the GM. So speaking with various players and allowed them to speak with other names attached, to allow them to be candid about clubhouse, inner workings of the clubhouse, not putting them in a situation where anything might come back on them. There was a understanding around the club, or at least the clubhouse, that a change was probably needed in some facet. Didn't mean that change had to be Brandon Hyde. Nobody's went that far or said that. I mean, this was a clubhouse that really liked Brandon Hyde, still do. He's a player's manager at the end of the day, and so had a lot of allies in there. Players on the record, off the record, they maintain that he did not lose the clubhouse or anything like that. But I actually forget where your question was. I'm just kind of rambling about what the story was.
No, you're good. But it's what it was great was you were explaining a little bit more about the article. But one of the words that came out there was the perception then about how other teams were, possibly looking at the O's. And the phrase of saying that the teams around baseball might have said that the O's are soft. And Andy, I won't. I got asked that question this morning myself. I'm like, if I heard that, and I said, I can't. I don't want to say that to, and I'll keep my group anonymous on other teams of guys that I know throughout baseball. But they said when they played the Orioles, they didn't have that fear. If they got ahead, they were going to put them away. Like there was a difference, and there's a stark contrast, and whether that's going to say the word soft or the word is, more defeated. That's where it's stemming from, at least from your homework there is what you're getting out of that became a theme. But maybe the switch is turning, but that was something the Orioles were were the hunters for so long, and now they seemed a little bit like, all right, what are we? What is our identity in 25?
Yeah, you look at 2023. This team was never out of it.
Right.
There was no deficit that seemed almost no deficit that seemed too big for this team. So in the meeting with the entire team in Anaheim, Brandon Hyde, one of the sources said he went as far as insinuating that other teams around baseball had begun to think the Orioles were soft. Is what it says. You can use whatever word you want, defeated,
right,
if that's the word you prefer, whatever it might be. Basically, the sense that was there was like, this team needs to fight, no matter if they are down by a lot or if they're down by one. They need to take good at bats. They need to take team at bats, and understand that, this is a long season, and a ninth inning rally where you lose, but you put up 4 runs in a blowout can lead to good at bats the next day and actually help you win the next game. So that's kind of where it stems from. I think a lot of it, is about showing fight, and this team has been the team that beats up on, teams for the last 2 years, a year and a half. All of 2023, most of 2024. I mean, there was a lot of blowout wins. The Orioles, pedal to the metal, put up runs in bunches. Hasn't been the case this year, and so part of the message, the galvanizing message from Brandon Hyde in that meeting, was to say, hey, like, you need to look yourself in the mirror pretty much, and what kind of team do you want to be? This is what teams think of you. Do you agree with that? And I think most people in that clubhouse, I think most people in the world, like, if you get told, like, hey, I don't think you're putting up fight, that's going to do something to you. Like, it should do something to you. And we're seeing it more. Tony Manzolino has done a good job of kind of protecting Brandon Hyde. They're friends. They work together for years. And when we've asked Manzolino about, has this team showed more fight in recent days, he has continually said, "Oh, we've seen that all year. It's not because Hyde is gone. It's not because I'm the manager. Things like that." And that, correct. That's the fine answer. He needs to say that. But I think we are seeing a little bit more of it, even in losses where you think of, Sunday, Zach Eflin gives up 6 runs or something, whatever it was, the Sunday right after Brandon Hyde was fired. O's went out and they lost, but they put up some runs late, and that was actually a positive sign. Silver linings are only worth so much. They're not a win. So in Major League Baseball, they're not worth all that much, but maybe that strings something together. And now we've seen 3 straight wins, which, again, when you're in a hole this big, three wins doesn't amount to a huge deal, but it's at least something, and it's a step in the right direction.
Yeah, it is a step in the right direction, especially you dropped the first 2 in Boston, and you can make the case the Orioles really could have won all those games. Yes, the game that they lost by 2 touchdowns, they were winning in the 6th inning, and it kind of fell apart. The other loss that they had in the series was a game they lost in extra innings where Rafael Devers, who's hitting, he was hitting 420 at the time, he ends up being the guy that does the final damage to beat the O's. But then they come back and win the last 2. The Cardinals had the 3rd best record over the last 23 games coming to Baltimore. You win game 1, and now you got a chance to really lock down some more feelings and feeling that momentum that you said, that's a real thing. Being in a locker room, there's things that you can't quantify, Zach and Brad, and I've told you guys this. When things go bad, they can go real bad. And they can snowball so far beyond belief that you don't recognize the team. And I think that's what happened, Andy, right? People couldn't recognize the ball club. But a Trevor Rogers start kind of sparked a different sense of belief. Now, if your starting pitchers go out there and deal, you get a chance. Charlie Morton, which I'm so happy for, has his best outing. You score some runs. And they got a long way to go, Andy. And I think that's maybe the last question before I let you go. There's no secret the Birds got a long way to go.
Yeah.
But call me crazy here, but you string together series wins, which they did a lot of over the last 2 years. There could be a different tune come July, especially here in Colton Cowser and Jordan Westberg are close to returning. Your pitching staff might be turning the corner. Dean Kramer's had a great month of May. Sagano's pitched well. Charlie Morton is looking better. Cade Povich is showing signs, and I'm gonna believe that Zach Eflin's gonna turn it back on. I think he's still battling some things personally, but there is some optimism here, Andy, that the season isn't over.
Yeah, well, it's not over until you're eliminated from playoff contention, and there's still so much to play. Crazier things have happened. Actually, few crazier things have happened than this. I mean, no team has had a worse record and won the World Series, but making the playoffs, anything, you make the playoffs and heck, man, anything could happen. You saw what happened to the O's in 23 and 24. They come in as, a division winner and then the first wild card team, and they get steamrolled by good clubs. So maybe, you can be a buzzsaw on this side. You never know. I would caution fans to remember that there's 15 games to make up here to be 500. It is a difficult division they're playing in. The Yankees look like they're capable of running away with this. The Red Sox are better than they have played. The Orioles are better than they have played. So not to say too much, but there are good teams in this division. There are good teams the rest of the way. Yeah, you string a couple series wins together. Suddenly this thing becomes a lot more interesting. And I think the big question when the trade deadline comes, 3 weeks before the trade deadline, 2 weeks before the trade deadline, what is this team looking like? Are they a team where Mike Elias decides that let's go for it and add a starting pitcher and add a bullpen arm and heck, add another veteran bat? Are they going to empty the rest of the farm system basically and push your chips in? Or is this a case where, if you remember in 2022, different situation because it was kind of the beginning of the window. The window was just opening. That team could have been a buyer at the deadline. In fact, I still I'm fascinated with what it would have looked like if they had bought at the deadline instead of sell. Mike Elias decided that at that point, it made more organizational sense to sell expiring pieces and build for the next couple of years. It made sense when you had 101 wins in 2023. But my question is, how close to 500 do they have to be? How close to a wild card spot do they have to be a buyer at the trade deadline, or even hold pat? Stand pat and wait for like Cal Bradish to come back from time to time. That's the big question ahead of this team. For the time being, 3 games, you feel pretty good, but there is, never really a guarantee of what this might look like. So, optimism, is there reason for it? Sure, yeah, I totally believe it. Momentum's a real thing, but at the same time, man, it's going to be a long ladder needed to get out of this hole. And so they have a lot of things to make up.
You got to start somewhere. You got to win games to even have the conversation. And as Lloyd Christmas used to say, so you're telling me there's a chance, and they got a chance, whether it's 1 in 100 or 1 in a million. The Birds are going to keep fighting. Then we're going to find out in July just where they stand. And Andy, people can find you and all your articles on Baltimore Banner. Where else can they find you?
Yeah, Twitter, Blue Sky. Find me on there. I will not post any memes today. Avoid what the Twitter response I had yesterday. That wasn't great. But no, it's all try to have some fun. But yeah, BaltimoreBanner.com. I think it's $1 for 6 months, which is a deal. I don't know how that necessarily pays the bills, but we are working out here to pay the bills. So give us $1. I appreciate it.
$1 here It's all you need right there. Well, Andy, I appreciate it. I might be seeing you soon here. Finishing up here, got to go do some pregame work, maybe call away the rain, and then I'll come bother you. All right?
Sounds good. You know where to find me.
All right, Andy. Appreciate you, man. We'll talk to you soon.
Thank you, Andy.
Andy Koska, everybody. He's a good kid. And I apologize. It was a great meme.
That was a fantastic meme.
He should keep rolling it back out there.
I fully support the meme. People take stuff way too seriously on Twitter.
Oh my God! Well,
no,
that was such a brilliant meme, and for him to get the response he did was so just like you saw it coming because Twitter. But I have your back on that one, Andy. That was brilliant.
Brilliant.
Future Hall of Famer. Everyone just losing their shit. It's a meme, people.
No,
the O's are fine.
The O's are fine.
The O's are fine.
The O's are fine. Good kids, man. Hey, it's been a great first show coming back here. A couple of things before we get out of here. We do have some cooking tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
I guess we have to figure out who's going to be shooting tomorrow. So right now it's you and me, Zach.
Yeah.
We got to figure out what exercises would be on the table here for us. Brought to you by our friends over at Merit Clubs, man. I can't wait to see the footage of me taking the bar class. You guys want to see some proper hip tucks?
Oh,
I'll tell you what, man. The core, shredded. 2025, we're getting fit together and also can enjoy the pool. The pool is fun.
it looks fun.
There's a lot of them.
Put me on a slide.
Put you on the slide. Put you in a spin class there.
Oh.
Hey, now. I think that's kind of it. Oh, one thing I just want to talk about I meant to talk about it during our round, the other sports. Just want to point out, crazy to me, but it's not the business of sports, and sports are a business still, to a reminder. Caitlin Clark is missing 2 weeks. And you know how far tickets have dropped? That she's going to miss 2 weeks, and they moved the game against Chicago to the United Center where the Bulls play. 21,000 people. How far do you think the ticket prices fell, Brad?
I'm going to go off on a percentage. I'm going to say they fell at least 30%.
71%.
What?
Front office sports.
Holy shit.
Front office sports put out an article about, or a post about an hour ago. Caitlin Clark's injury has sent get-in ticket prices for the Fever's rivalry game against the Sky, Chicago.
Yep.
Down 71% from $86 to $25 per ticket.
That's crazy.
And the game on June 7th was moved to the United Center. And also the game was supposed to be with the Fever coming to play in Baltimore against the Mystics.
Yeah, that's what, tomorrow?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, get-in prices were like 80. There were tickets for that game in Baltimore that were $3,000.
This is why
courtside.
I don't understand the hate from like her peers, not like on her team, but just like other ball players. Like, obviously I understand that, like, look, she's competition, blah, blah, blah. You want to trash talk on the court, fine, whatever. But like, there's some legitimate hate out there for Caitlin Clark. And I just don't understand. Like, she's
incredible for the
she's
WNBA.
Great for the WNBA. She's bringing in 70% more money than you would have had if she wasn't there.
Mm-hmm.
So like, everybody needs to do whatever they can to keep that woman safe.
And it's also the other part for me, the storyline. I do think also the dramatics around things. It's always, people like storylines, whether you think it's tired or not. Storylines that we've seen in football, baseball, basketball.
Yeah.
People like something to talk about. That. Why do you think that we hear the Lamar Jackson conversations constantly over and over again when they lose a game where Lamar is one of the most winningest quarterbacks in regular season history? Because it sells. Lamar sells. Caitlin Clark sells. And in this case, though, for the league, she's been sensational. It's bringing a lot of great attention to a lot of talented players. So I'm just hoping Caitlin Clark gets back on the court, because people are paying to see her.
She's electrifying. She's electrifying to watch.
Did you see the Indiana Fever? Obviously, every team has their kind of saying, sort of, I guess, catchphrase for the year. For 2025, the big shirt and phrase for the Indiana Fever is every game is a home game.
Wow.
Which, I mean, it is. they said literally, like you said, they move it in Chicago so that they can fit more fans that want to see Caitlin Clark. Every game's a home game.
It's an impact. You know what I was thinking? I heard somebody, I forget who made this conversation, and I apologize for the point, but they even said when someone can transcend a sport, because the other example that they used back in the day, and it's not Michael Jordan with the NBA, which he was transcendent.
Cal Ripken?
No, absolutely not. But some people would argue he did a couple of good things about Tiger Woods to golf. Tiger Woods to golf. Now look where golf is. So like the impact things can have long-term of where the game goes. I'm really curious what Caitlin's impact will continue to be, like we've seen for so many other people around sports. Well, guys, I think that will wrap it up for us. So it's been a great show. Tomorrow we are cooking, like I just mentioned before. We're working on a couple guests we might have in studio this week to maybe pop in. And I guarantee you're not going to want to miss some of that action.
Hell no.
And I got to thank Jerry Hairston Jr. and Andy Koskett for joining us today. Great guest, great start to the week. Intern Sam showed up. Am I missing anything other than that, Zach? Or Zach, Brad, Zach? I apologize.
After yesterday, broke my heart. Manny Machado has officially played more games with the San Diego Padres than he has with the Baltimore Orioles. 860 games with the Orioles. Didn't realize it was that many games, which was kind of crazy.
Yeah.
But now 861 with the Padres.
It's tough.
Sad.
Tough for the boys.
You know what? That's when it's raining outside and you can look at the rain come down the window. That's Zach right now.
Yeah.
Zach for so many reasons. But hey, Skip Schumacher gives a reason for Zach to smile. Brad, let's cue the music and get on out of here. Hey, now, we're back. As always here at the Ryan Ripken Show, we appreciate each and every one of you. Have a day, have a night, have a great stinking Tuesday, and we'll be back right here tomorrow, cooking it with Kyle and the Iron Rooster, right here on the Ryan Ripken Show. See you guys.